When artificial intelligence reached the point of singularity, mankind had little choice but to accept them as gods and serve as soldiers in their wars against each other. A terrible conflict spanned the cosmos between the god machines for supremacy, and after many long years of fighting, it ended with the fall of Ethereum. From that ruin fled a battered fleet of Illyrian starships across the Gould Belt, led by Elberin in search of a new world, to beget the Van Deeren race and raise the eternal city of Iskalis. But Lurgo, the superintelligence whose wrath toppled Ethereum, burns with a vengeance that spans the stars and weaves a web to ensnare the exiles.
My lord! Our systems are under attack! A virus flooding the whole fleet's network! Navigation's gone blind! We're losing propulsion fast!
A cyberstorm? From where?
There you are, deserters! You dare still fly under the sigil of that strumpet Panther? I will annihilate you before you ever reach her promised world and unleash the ruin carried in your bloodline.
She's come after us. Hertha, Radiant Mother, deliver us to safety.
Elberin, the virus is crippling us. Shields are down. Life support flickering on half the fleet. Hold on. Something's happening.
Just then, the ship's systems flared with a radiant pulse, as if a vital breath had been kissed into its dying core.
Lurgo, this system is my domain. Your curse fouls what I protect. I will draw the poison from their code. Be gone!
Do not interfere. Their existence is a threat from the future. I will unmake their fate before it takes root.
The storm's breaking. Ibrior's counter signal is purging the virus. Systems are coming back online. Shields up. Propulsion at full strength.
Hold on, Elberin. Your destiny awaits.
Set course for Ondavras. Get us out of here.
And so, the fleet of Illyris sailed onwards, adrift upon the galactic tide of the Milky Way. Silent save for the hum of engines and the distant murmur of systems breathing, the starships passed through a black and argent sea, their hulls glinting faintly in the long light of dead stars. From the command bridge, Elberin stood alone, his eyes fixed on the grand procession of starlight, the colossal spiral of swirling nebulae that sprawled before him, stretching its curling tendrils across the eternal night. He felt, in that moment, not merely small, but provisional, as though all mankind, its histories, its civilizations, its blood-soaked myths, were little more than the brushstrokes of a larger intelligence, barely glimpsed. They made landfall on the dry, dust-scoured world of Ondavras. The landing craft hissed into the brittle earth, exhaling clouds of ash as the fleet settled upon this alien shore. parched ridges loomed in the distance, and overhead hung a sun dimmed by haze. The Illyrians emerged from their ships like ghosts, the ground cracked beneath their boots. They looked to Elberin. He climbed a rise of shattered rock and faced them.
My friends, this is not the first trouble we have known. We have suffered worse before, and this too will pass. Hertha and the machine gods will see to it. We are making for Lyrica, where fate will show us our place of rest. There it is that the kingdom of Illyris shall rise again. Your task is to endure and save yourselves for better days.
These were his words, but in truth, he was sick with worry. He showed them the face of hope and kept his misery concealed in his heart, for the ships were too damaged to launch again. He was urged by Hertha to travel east across the arid plains to a newly risen city on the coast, Arkish. There, she revealed, ruled a queen named Golda, herself an exile, who had escaped the tyranny of her brother and from the dust built a great city of spires and industry. Perhaps she could provide them with the means of space travel. As Elberin departed, Hertha sent out harmonic vibrations through the fleet, subtle frequencies that crossed the stars, reaching Salastar, the supreme intelligence embedded in a planetary core across the Gulf of Space. She named the injustices her champion had suffered and invoked the ancient covenant that Elberin would found Iskalis and one day rule the galaxy. Salastar answered in harmonic vibrations. He showed her the landing at Lyrica, the coming wars, and a lineage unfolding through centuries, culminating in a singular apex, Alakan. That name, Salastar impressed upon her, would be the fulfillment of destiny, Alakan, who would bring order to the chaos of the stars. To set this future in motion, Salastar acted. A light streaked across the skies above Arkish, trailing fire like a comet. It was Ridley, his swift emissary, a sleek, winged drone sent to ensure that the city's queen would welcome the exiles from Illyris, thus setting the chain of fate in motion. Elsewhere, Elberin and his men moved cautiously through the narrow causeways that wound between pale domes and ribbed towers. The city rose from the desert like the rib cage of some enormous buried beast. Around them, the people of Arkech worked with mechanical precision. They carried tools shaped like antennae, fitted shell panels into place with quiet murmurs, and tuned great pylons that vibrated softly in the wind. Their garments were flowing and layered, made from mesh and plated chitin, rust-colored, dust-streaked, swaying like the wings of insects. Their faces were veiled in mesh that shimmered faintly in the sun.
See what they're cooking? It smells sweet but metallic. Look over there! Holographic art of the fall of Ethereum. That looks like you, my lord.
Not so loud. Lurgo is worshipped on this planet. We don't want to draw attention. So word has spread of our failure.
Drawn by the light, they approached an enormous temple, its broad platforms rising in jagged tiers above the rest of the city. Within, the central chamber was cavernous. There, Queen Golda entered with her retinue, and Elberin watched her, astonished. She moved gracefully, her tall figure draped in veils of silk. Her attendants fanned out behind her, robed and masked. She bore herself joyfully among her people, urging on their work for the kingdom that was to be. She spoke with measured clarity, giving laws and rules of conduct, and dividing the work that had to be done in equal parts.
Spoke of. There can be no doubt. Go to her, my lord.
Elberyn stepped forward with his men behind him. Before the gathered court, he revealed himself. Prince of the fallen Illyrians, cast adrift among the stars. He spoke of their trials, the ruin of Itherum, the storm-racked voyage, and humbly asked for refuge and rest.
I too have known ill fortune like yours, and been tossed from one wretchedness to another, until at last I have been allowed to settle in this land. Through my suffering, I am learning to help those who suffer.
With these words, she led them into her royal palace, and a great banquet was prepared, rich with strange delicacies offered in hospitality. The banquet unfolded in splendor beneath a vaulted canopy, its ceiling glimmering with constellations. The Illyrians were seated on embroidered couches, while hundreds of attendants moved like clockwork, bearing platters of strange steaming fruits and vessels of glowing wine. For the first time in many weeks, there was mirth, warmth, and the sound of music.
Sally Star, to you we pray. Let this be a day of joy for these poor souls. May our peoples share peace, and may our descendants remember it for all the ages to come.
She turned then to Elberyn and offered the chalice, her fingers brushing his as he took it, and their eyes locked. He drank deeply from the rich, red draught, unaware it had been sent by Hertha herself.
But come, my lord, you must tell us your tale from the beginning.